Hello everyone, happy Monday and welcome to the Good Old Gamer. So over the weekend, not a whole lot of news out there in the tech industry. However, today reviews have dropped over Halo Infinite, and honestly, that's going to be a just talking head version of the video later on once we get to that. We also have some information about the upcoming RTX 2060 12GB. It's not going to have a Founders Edition, and they might be €500. So we're going to discuss that. Got some information about Raptor Lake. So alrighty guys, that's what we're going to be talking about here today. Before we do, smash the like button if you like videos like this. Now let's get into it. Alright, so jumping on over here, we have the RTX 2060 12GB just got more expensive. Tech PowerUp has confirmed Nvidia will not be launching a Founders Edition of the 2060 12GB model. Now, for me personally, I don't think that's too much of a surprise. This is kind of a, hey, we just want to get some more product out there and just sell them type of thing. That's what I'm gauging from this anyway. So to me, this isn't anything crazy, but if you were expecting getting one of these at, you know, whatever the MSRP is, that seems horribly unlikely. Now, tying into that, we have this story over here. The Geforce RTX 2060 goes on sale in France. So somebody accidentally let it slip. Now, this might have just been them posting it up, and they discuss that in the article, maybe like a placeholder type of thing. As they note right here, they have the same listing up there twice, and both of them have two different price points, one at €528 and one at €645 with VAT. So yeah, to me, this seems almost like a placeholder type of situation. But the fact that we're seeing these over €500 already coming up is a bit suspect. And tying in with the first story of not having a Founders Edition, that's just not excellent. Also, there are rumors that this will not have an MSRP at all, meaning the RTX 2060 12GB will be whatever the AIBs want to charge for them. So that's not looking good. I was really hoping that these would be somewhat reasonable around the $400 price point. Sorry guys, those were my hopes, but we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. We'll find out tomorrow. It's not that big of a deal. And then we got this little information about Intel's Raptor Lake. The CPUs will now have 24 cores and 32 threads, and this was spotted in a leaked benchmark. So it's kind of interesting that this will be now coming out with 8 performance cores and 16 efficient cores. This doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me, and I'm going to talk about that here in a sec, but that's what the leak is now showing. This is featured in an engineering sample. Now, to me, popping on more efficient cores doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense. Honestly, Steve from Hardware Unboxed has already shown that if they just popped on 2 more performance cores, so going to 10 cores, and getting rid of the efficient cores would actually make more sense for their desktop processors. Now, going 8/16 with a mobile chip, that might make more sense, as this way they can basically turn off the performance cores to save power. In fact, the performance cores would likely be used very little because the efficient cores are going to be better for most mobile tasks. So that might be the reason why such a chip would exist, but on the desktop side, I don't believe that Intel would release something with more efficient cores and not more performance cores. However, they can do whatever they want, but we'll just have to wait and see. To me, that one just seems a little suspect, or perhaps Intel's just playing around with the chip to see what it does and see how it operates. So, alrighty guys, let's move on to the big story of the day. The big story of the day is the reviews for Halo Infinite are finally out. This is a game that's been in the works for 6 years plus, and it's fallen a little bit short of where a lot of people's expectations will probably be. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't know if I did a dedicated video on it or talked about it on the podcast, but my expectations for this game were so low that basically the fact that it ships and it turns on and it doesn't crash every 30 seconds, that's actually better than I was anticipating. So my expectations for this game had been just downgraded and downgraded and downgraded. Once I saw the campaign trailer that they released this year, a few weeks ago, I was like, this looks like Far Cry. I just don't think it's going to be that great. Now, granted, all the reviews said that it's not Far Cry. They said that it's structured a little bit differently, and that's excellent. So not a Far Cry clone is technically a step up in my book. But the main problem seems to be the characters in there aren't very likable. They're just there to push the narrative, which isn't interesting at all. The antagonist is not interesting at all. And realistically, the only positives that I'm hearing from the reviews that I've seen so far is that the game plays good. It's fun to play, but the problem is there's only so much fun that you can have when you're just dropped into a sandbox and you have great mechanics. This is why games like Doom Eternal work well, because you have very structured arenas with very structured enemy types. Everything is planned out by the developer to make the maximum amount of fun out of each situation. The open world basically eliminates that from being a possibility of having really good and tight controls and making the combat super fun. However, you can go out and you can, I guess, drive tanks over trees and do all sorts of crazy stuff if you want to. But there's not a lot in the open world except for taking over like bases and stuff occasionally. This is what I'm hearing. This is the takeaways that I'm getting from these reviews. So it looks like 343 has failed again with the Halo franchise. That means they've failed with Halo 4, which honestly I'd say out of all of the games is probably going to go down in history as their best mainline Halo game. Halo 5 was a complete disaster, and now with Halo Infinite, maybe at best getting lukewarm because the game plays fun. Graphically, it's not super impressive for like a console selling type game, you know, a first party, super awesome game. Graphically, it looks generic and fine enough. I mean, personally, I don't care that much about graphics, but when you are using this to sell consoles and it's like, this is a reason why you want Game Pass or you want something like that, big budget first party games, they have to be top tier. They have to look better than everything else. Like even on an Xbox One, it needs to look better than most PS5 games. Like that's how good first party games need to be. You can take a look at Halo 4 running on the Xbox 360 as the perfect example of this. So we know 343 is capable of it. It seems like the going open world made so many compromises in Halo in terms of, like I said, like graphics to make the open world work. They couldn't do a lot of the per scene, tweaks and stuff to make it look better. And the same thing with like the combat and the story and the narrative and all of it. Basically making Halo open world made Halo worse than it could have possibly been. I don't know. I'll have to give you guys my opinion. Once I play the game, I can give you a little bit more information there. But personally, I hope Microsoft learns. Give the game to id Software. Give Halo to id Software or pay Bungie. Microsoft's one of the richest, most powerful companies on the planet. Buy the people that make the game good and have them make a good game. 343 clearly cannot do it. I would just shutter them or make them, allow them to make other games. Get Halo away from these people. They just aren't doing good. That's my personal opinion. Like I said, between 4, 5, and from what I'm seeing so far with this, I don't know. I could change my opinion on this right around if the game is amazing and I'm like, these reviewers are nuts. But honestly, I've seen enough of the gameplay footage and the reviewers that I watched. I checked out G-Man Lives first, checked out Skill Up next. Then I did the Digital Foundry tech thing, which, the technology stuff's kind of cool, but at the same time, doesn't make a game better. But anyways, I checked those out, and overall, the two guys, like Skill Up was kind of positive on this. G-Man was definitely negative on it, but at the same time, they had the same complaints. For example, they both went on about the characters not really mattering or even being bothersome and annoying to you because their personalities. Basically, 343 just can't write characters and can't do it too good. So once I hear both guys saying the same things, I'm like, okay, that's probably true. So that's the way that I've been doing this. And I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Are you disappointed about this? I am. I'm disappointed. I was hoping to be pleasantly surprised, but I have a feeling that the game's going to be as blah as I was anticipating it was going to be. And considering this is one of the premium franchises in all of gaming, it's a real shame that Microsoft just didn't scrap this. I've got to play it for myself. I'm a little disappointed. I'm a little salty. I'm betting you guys are probably getting that. I want to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. Do you agree with me that it's probably time for Microsoft to pass the reins along to somebody more competent than 343 Studios? Personally, I think id Software would be perfect to basically reboot the Halo franchise. I think those are the guys to be able to do it the best. And now they own id Software, so why not? Anyways, those are my dreams on that one. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and check out the deal of the day. Alrighty guys, so not a whole lot out there right now. I guess everybody's reeling for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. But over here on Amazon, we have this Thermaltake Water 3.0. This supports both LGA, your normal LGA stuff, and AM4. It's a 280 millimeter all-in-one liquid cooler coming in at only $77.42. So that's a pretty good deal for something like this. Personally, if your case can fit a 280 mil rad, I would go that route over a 240 any day of the week. It's a lot more surface area for not a whole lot of extra space. And like I said, at this price point, that's a pretty good deal if you're in the need for some new cooling. And if you guys are in the mood for a game that also came out in 2001 that does not suck, Return to Castle Wolfenstein came out right alongside Halo. And honestly, this was the main reason why I did not buy an Xbox way back when. I wanted to play this more than I wanted to play the original Halo. And for Christmas in 2001, I built my PC specifically to play this game. And honestly, if you haven't played this or haven't played it in a while, this game is still amazing, still holds up. I was playing it not too long ago. Graphically, yes, it's definitely dated, but the gameplay mechanics and the atmosphere and music and just basically the overall quality of the game still holds up extremely well. G-Man did a good video considering this is now 20 years old, turned 20 last month. And yeah, he did a great job explaining the game if you wanted in more detail. But for $6, you can't go wrong playing one of the greatest first-person shooters probably of all time. Well, alrighty guys, that'll do it here today. Sorry there wasn't a whole bunch of news out there. We'll see how the RTX 2060 12GB goes tomorrow. That'll be on Friday's update, or you can catch Paul and I on our midweek live stream, assuming his wife does not go into labor. That should be on Thursday. So if you haven't already subscribed to the Techonomics podcast, that's where we stream. Links are in the description below. And also subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Hit the little notification bell so you don't miss all the videos that we have coming out. Also have some pretty interesting videos coming out with the new 12th gen Intel Core series stuff coming real soon. So if you want to see that, once again, make sure that you're subscribed. And if you like this video right here, please smash that like button. Please subscribe. Please share with friends. It really helps me out. And that's all I have for you here today. I'll catch you guys in the next video.